This is probably important. Welcome to Jets Talk. My name's Ryan. I'll be your pilot. I forgot to turn my mic on. All right. Sorry about that. All right. For all you guys and girls out there, I'm going to pose a question to you, and I want you to let me know down below in the comments as well as in the live chat. And today's topic for discussion is, how would you fix the New York Jets? It's kind of a loaded question. There's a whole lot of different options here. We'll do some phone calls and get some audio and some sound clips from you guys and where things could potentially be going. Before we get to phone calls, I want to give you a little bit of my thought process on some of these things. So as of the last 2 years, we've spent a lot of assets on the offensive side of the ball. First and second round picks, both years. In this case, 2 first rounders this year, a second and a fourth, all went to offense. Defensively, you guys have heard me say it, a lot of our free agents, LaMarcus Joyner, Vinny Curry, Carl Lawson, the defensive guys that were supposed to make an impact this year, absolutely, let us down due to injury. So we are in a rough spot. If you saw my video yesterday, we have 26% of our players on IR, 26% of our salary cap on IR. That's a lot of money to be sitting on IR. Not to mention, we have $32 million in dead cap left over from the 𝐗-𝐭𝐬 regime. So for those of you wondering, let me just pull up what our team's dead cap hits are. We have $8 million for Trumaine Johnson, $5 million for Sam Darnold, $4 million for Le'Veon Bell, $3.6 million to 𝐓𝐞𝐭𝐬, $3 million for 𝐗-𝐅𝐚𝐿, $1.5 million to Chris Herndon, and then it kind of goes down the list, some of which were guys that were cut this year, brought back, things of that nature. Not perfectly, all the other side on 𝐗-𝐭𝐬. Some of it is on Douglas, but by and large, I do think that Douglas made the right moves, cutting some of these players and moving on from some of these contracts. So next year, we're going to have a lot of money at our disposal, a lot of picks at our disposal, a lot of things we could talk about, things that we might be able to improve upon, hopefully improve. As it stands right now, if we assume the salary cap is going to be, I think it's $208 million. Is that right? 200. All right, so they're assuming $211 million is what the salary cap is going to be for 2022. The Jets, with rollover cap, are expected to have about 51 to $52 million in salary cap space. And that is before cuts. We're going to be able to move on from Greg Van Roten, and if you wanted to, you could move on from George Fant. I don't think many of us probably want to do that. You can move on from Sheldon Rankins. He's going to clear up a lot of space. Or not Sheldon Rankins. Shaq Lawson. He saves $9 million. And there's going to be some interesting options. So without getting into too many specifics and a real critical breakdown and really hardcore analysis, because I'll eventually do my mock offseason, and you'll see what I'm kind of thinking in more in-depth terms. But I want to go over some of these things. So there's one big issue that I think we can solve in free agency is wide receiver. And we saw yesterday just how bad our wide receivers were when Corey Davis and you guys having audio issues? Can you guys hear me? Before you fix the jet, fix the sound. Am I sounding weird? Talk to me. Sound is working for Liberal Irishman. Rich Ritter says it's all good. All right. I'm going to assume you were talking about earlier. And that's me. That's on me for not turning my mic on. Oh, well. So we're going to figure this out. There's going to be some options. Wide receiver is going to be a big area of need because we're losing Keelan Cole. We're losing Jamison Crowder. I don't think we're going to bring back either one of them. So we're going to have to solve wide receiver at some point, and it appears like Denzel Mims is not going to be the solution we had all hoped for. Richard Delgado says, can't believe the Jets lost to 𝐗-𝐷 2.0, but hey, at least the Jets found their kicker. I don't think I'd call Taysom Hill 𝐗-𝐷 2.0, but, guy that doesn't normally throw a whole lot of passes, throws a whole lot of passes, or doesn't really throw a whole lot of passes. I guess he threw, 20, 25? What was he, 20 of 25, I think? Taysom Hill on a bum finger. Yeah, not the way you want to lose. But anyone going into the season with too high, lofty expectations, that's on you. We shouldn't have been expecting as many wins as I think a lot of us were hoping for. If everything had clicked, sure, you could change that. But I think we can all agree the Patriots are playing significantly better than we thought they were going to play. I think our coaching staff is significantly more lost than we thought they would be. Zach Wilson is struggling far more than we thought he would. As of right now, he has the highest percentage of off-target throws. I believe he's sitting at about 25% of his throws are off-target. League average, I believe, is 15%. The bottom three players, I think Rich Cimini was the one that tweeted this out. Zach Wilson was the worst, then Justin Fields, then Trevor Lawrence. So obviously the rookies are towards the bottom of this list. But anyway, how would you fix the Jets, right? So let's talk about this. The wide receiver position, I mentioned it in yesterday's video. There's going to be some options. You got Devontae Adams, you got Juju Smith-Schuster, you got Chris Godwin, Michael Gallup. Who else am I missing on there? There's a few other names. Allen Robinson's going to be a free agent. There's going to be some options out there available for the Jets. I don't expect Joe Douglas to go out and sign someone like a Devontae Adams. I think that contract's going to be too rich for him. I do think that Chris Godwin would be a really nice fit, although I think I could see him staying in Tampa Bay. Juju, I don't love. I think some of the off-the-field TikTok kind of, hey, look at me, aspects of his kind of game has me a little turned off from him. And I'm not sure if he necessarily wants, if he's really close with Sam Darnold, I don't know if he necessarily wants to come to the Jets based on how that ended last year. I would say Allen Robinson is a really interesting option for us. But I think the guy I would be going for would be, losing my train of thought, Michael Gallup. I would look for Michael Gallup. I think that is probably a price point type wide receiver who hasn't gotten, he's gotten a bunch of playing time, but he's kind of been hidden behind Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb. And I think I'd rather, maybe bank on the upside. Like, I don't mind the Corey Davis contract. I know, what is he getting? 3 years, $12 million a year, I think is what he wound up getting. So I would say that contract is probably around where I would like our next contract to be with a wide receiver. So let's say we go into next year, wide receiver wise, you've got Corey Davis, Michael Gallup, Elijah Moore. I would like to bring back Braxton Berrios. I think he's a really reliable special teamer, and I think you bring back Denzel Mims at least for training camp with some other competition, maybe a draft pick at some point. I don't have very high hopes for Mims, and I could very easily see him being cut for sure. Running back wise, I really like Michael Carter. I would love to bring back Tevin Coleman. I don't know what Coleman's contract is. I would imagine it's a 1-year deal though. Ty Johnson, if he were our third running back, maybe I could live with it. I would like to bring in more of a bruiser type of a back, faster guy that we could kind of grind out on the goal line as opposed to letting Michael Carter or Tevin Coleman take these hits. I do like Austin Walter. I would like to see him come in or stay next year. Again, I don't know what his contract is. So running back wise, I think we're all right. We're not bad. We just kind of got caught on a bad week with everyone going out. Offensive line wise, I like Becton at left tackle or Fant at left tackle, Becton at right tackle, whatever you want to do. I do think we have Fant and Becton, obviously both back next year, to bookend our tackle situation. I do think we look to go out and sign another tackle. Joe Douglas, in his time in Philadelphia, had Andre Dillard, or he drafted Andre Dillard after he had Jason Peters and Lane Johnson. So he likes his tackles. We've obviously got AVT at the left guard. I'd like LDT to be the right guard. We did see an uptick in production there. I would love to see him come back and then maybe add some competition to that right side of the line. And that's fine if they have to sit behind. That would be fine for me if they have to sit behind McGovern for a year. That would be just fine. Let him learn, and then you kind of push McGovern, right? And then who knows? Maybe McGovern winds up being a guard or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. So, offensive line on the second, third round level. In terms of like right guard or tackle or anything like that, what would I want to move on from? I don't think there is... Joe S. says this stream is like the Jets season. Oh, geez. Sorry. I apologize if it's skipping a lot. I'm a little frustrated with how this works sometimes. Either way, not too banged up about the offensive line. Wouldn't mind going second round center. Quarterback-wise, look, I'm rolling with Zach Wilson. I would say I would keep an eye out on the Jimmy G situation. They can save a lot of money out in San Francisco if they cut Jimmy G. I don't think they're going to hold on to him as a backup quarterback with that high of a salary cap hit. So maybe he thinks he has a better shot to start out here, or at least push Zach Wilson. He would be an option I'd look for in free agency, pending the price, of course. And then Mike White would be my third string quarterback. But I am rolling with Zach. There's no way I'm drafting a quarterback. There's no one in this draft class that I would remotely think is worthy of that selection in the top 10. Other free agents, you're probably looking to add some type of edge rusher, whether it be free agency or the draft. I think it's going to be a lot harder to do it in free agency. Maybe you try to bring back, I don't know. You look for some people that might be hitting the waiver wire. I like Huff. I like Lawson. I think Lawson's going to lose a little bit of speed with this injury. So I would like, draft-wise, to target an edge. Ideally, that's 𝐗-𝐷𝐿 or Aiden Hutchinson in the first round. With the Seattle pick, I'm going to say, let's pretend we're in that renegotiate Shaq Lawson. I would probably cut him if he didn't want to renegotiate, but if he wanted to, say, take a, be at $4 million instead of a $9 million cap hit, I'd do it. Linebacker-wise, we have to hold on to C.J. Mosley for next year. We're not going to be able to trade him. His contract would actually cost us money if we cut him, so it doesn't make any sense to move on from him there. Quincy Williams, I would like to bring back. I do think that there is a young star. No, I shouldn't say young star, but a young playmaker that could definitely be in our long-term future. When I look at the cornerbacks, I like Bryce Hall. I like Michael Carter II. Eccles is fine. I would look for a starting caliber corner, whether that be in free agency or the draft, for sure. So just sort of ballparking it going into the draft, like I said, Thibodeau or Hutchinson would be my first pick. Right now the Jets are sitting at pick 4. According to Tankathon, they have Thibodeau going 1 to the Lions, Neal going 2 to the Jags, Aiden Hutchinson going 3 to the Texans, which I do not see. I would be surprised if they did not take Matt Corral, which would mean Hutchinson would be there for the Jets at 4. They have us taking Derek Stingley Jr., which I do not believe is going to happen for the New York Jets. As of right now, the Jets are sitting at pick 7. I don't think that's going to be the case. I do think we're going to wind up seeing this pick drop a little bit more. I think there's some winnable games on Seattle's schedule coming up. So if I'm looking around that 10 to 13, let's say, pick, I think Garrett Wilson is someone that people are going to look at. I think, and that's wide receiver, Ohio State. Chris Olave, wide receiver, Ohio State. There's going to be a lot of options. Jameson Williams out of Alabama. He may be the best receiver in the country. It is possible. Where you kind of fall on that. There's going to be some options out there for the New York Jets. But ideally, I would want this offseason to be more about the defense than the offensive weapons. And it's just frustrating what we got out of Denzel Mims yesterday and how that might end up not costing us, but making a need out of an area I didn't think was going to be a needy kind of area. So, defensive-wise, draft, spitballing, edge rusher. Linebacker, tight end, safety, wide receiver. Those are 5 big-time needs. And then I would probably throw center in there at some point just because, looking down the pipeline. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear how you guys feel about this team and where you think they should go. I do have the timer back, so I'm going to get the chicken back involved. I'm going to eject your butts if you don't have, or if you use up all 5 minutes. That's what's going to wind up happening. All right, let's move this number onto the screen. Let's see how it works. I haven't done this in a while, so. All right, let's change this audio settings. We're gonna do. Let's see. Microphone is gonna be the Yeti. Speakers. Back audio. Let's see if that works. All right, phone number's on the screen. If you'd like to call in and talk a little Jets. Hopefully this works the way I'm hoping it works. Again, not testing, kind of going off the cuff here. See, you guys are saying Mims and Johnson are gone, says Thomas Cahill. Zach Wilson is a bust, says Howard. Delusional Jets fan says you can play Hamilton in any scheme and any package. Hamilton is an interesting player. I'm warmed up to him more than I otherwise would have, but I would say I would rather go wide receiver than safety high at this point. But I don't know. I reserve my right to change that depending on the how free agency goes. All right, what else are you guys talking about here? My Holy King says, we have good receivers. It's Zach Wilson not performing. How many drops did we have? That's something I meant to look into prior to this. Let's see. How many drops did we have yesterday? The Saints game. Receiving grades. I think this gives me drops. All right. Is there a drop percentage? I don't know if there's a drop percentage. Pass breakup. See, this is what happens when I don't do all my thinking. So interesting. Pro Football Focus only has 3 drops, which seems unlikely. That does not seem like a reliable number there. I don't know. I think the receivers dropping passes was a big issue. My Holy King says bad passes equal to drops. Yeah, look, bad passes. There were times that Ty Johnson, well, we'll say the second one, the second drop from Ty Johnson was definitely more on Zach Wilson than Ty Johnson because he almost had to come to a complete stop in order to catch it. I think most of Zach Wilson's passes were about a foot off of where you'd probably like it, where guys have to turn to contort their body or they have to like maneuver up a little bit. That being said, the ball hits you in the hands, you're getting paid a lot of money to make that catch. So make the catch. But I think just seeing Zach Wilson as 25% off-target passes, highest in the NFL by a wide margin, is enough to give you the not-so-warm and fuzzies. Anyone who is calling in, just leave a comment in the video chat, because I haven't done this in a while, and I don't know if it's working. Or maybe I'm just not very popular. But usually people want to talk about what's going on with the team. I'm a little surprised. Let's see. Wayne says number 14 had drops too. Yes, that was towards the end of the game, right? Like 2 or 3 drives before the end of the game. Who was that? That was DJ Montgomery. But why didn't it list a drop for him? Catchable. Oh, maybe CTT? What's the key? Gotta look at the key. CTT. What does CTT mean? Contested targets. Okay, so that's what that is. He had 4 contested targets. And he had 1 contested catch. Where Vincent Smith and Denzel Mims both had a contested target as well. So I guess that means it's more the playmaker. All right. What else you guys talking about in here? Hayton Nate says, Mims will be a dangerous wide receiver if you give him time to shine. I'll be honest, he's had plenty of time to shine, and he has not made the most of it. I think, as excited as I was about Denzel Mims, I can understand why the team did not put him out on the field early in this season. Nick Chaplin says, Darnold was better than Zach in his rookie year. Yes, 100% agreed. I think we saw way more things out of Sam year one than we have from Zach year one. I do think coming from USC probably made it so Darnold was a little bit more prepared to play than coming from BYU with Zach. So I think there's maybe that little bit of asterisk, maybe. All right, we've got a caller. Let's see.
Call from
Kevin.
Kevin, what's up, brother? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Hey, how you doing, man?
Not too bad. How are you tonight?
Miserable.
Talk to me. How would you fix the New York Jets?
Oh my God! First of all, I love your show. By the way,
Thank you.
Jets Talk 24/7 is a pretty cool show.
I like you. You're a good person. We keep you around.
Yeah, man. How would I fix the Jets? I will start off by the quarterback, Zach Wilson.
Ooh, okay.
Number one, Robert Saleh, he is not teaching the quarterback how to progress.
Mm-hmm.
He has a great arm, but he does not have the whereabouts of how to read the defense. The defense.
Mm-hmm.
He does not have the whereabouts of where the receiver routes are going or where he's going to throw the football. You have to teach the kid little simple plays, like a little bit of a play, like the running game has to be solid. Let the kid run with the football first. Get him going with a few running plays. Get the offensive going with the run. Screen passes there and there is good, but I think they're rushing the quarterback too much. They're forcing the ball too much down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot do that with a young rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they have no weapons, they're a very young team offensively, defensively. And look, the offensive line of the New York Jets is horrible, deplorable. They don't know how to block certain guys on the defensive team. Mm-hmm. They don't know. They left too many holes wide open on the offensive line. It's atrocious. Mm-hmm. The offensive coordinator needs to be fired. It is the most atrocious offensive line, and that's why Zach Wilson, as young as he is, as a rookie, is horrible at quarterback right now. I think they're rushing the quarterback too much on Zach Wilson. Sorry.
I think you probably have something to it. I think he probably should have sat a little bit at the beginning of the season. We should have brought in a vet to start the season. I think that's where we probably went wrong. I do think losing Greg Knapp was a bigger hit to this team than I think a lot of us probably realized at the time.
Right.
I would say this. I think Zach is learning and having some valuable reps. There's some things that I've seen on tape that make me feel like he is progressing a little bit, but he's missing these short routes, which is weird because in preseason I watched every snap that he took, and he wasn't missing these easy throws. Like these are throws a Pee Wee football kid could make. You know, just rolling out to your right and the running back or the tight end just 5 yards in front of you with no one on. I'm like, there's no reason to miss this pass. So I understand where the frustration is with this. I would be very surprised if they moved on from Zach. I don't think it would make any sense to do that. And even LaFleur, I do feel like his play calling has gotten better throughout the season. I just think that you're dealing with a rookie offensive coordinator, a rookie head coach, and a rookie quarterback all trying to learn the system at the same time while you're also having a bunch of rookies and young players on the defensive side of the ball that they are dealing with injuries and they're not willing to adjust the scheme because they want the players to play within the scheme so that way they know it for next year. There's no reason to switch up the scheme to try and eke out a game here or a game there, because by and large you're not going to be playing those schemes next year. Like, just kind of ingrain like that to me, I can get behind, or at least I can rationalize. So I don't know. It's interesting. I don't think I would fire LaFleur. I do think there's probably maybe a little bit more of a hot seat next season, but I think losing all your weapons was more of an issue this game. But man, I just hope Zach can look back over this tape, over the season, and really like digest why he's not playing well and why he was able to hit some of these passes in preseason. And I know it's preseason, it's vanilla defenses, but even still, it's like these are passes that he should be hitting.
Yeah, you're right. He should be hitting. It's just that the kid, he's being rushed to a point where he has to throw the ball deep, but not taking the time to read where the defense is coming from, and not reading very well whether his receivers' routes are going to. And also, too, he's holding on to the ball too long. They need to teach him the balance of not holding the ball too long and not to be so anxious.
You're out of here! You have been ejected from the cockpit. Oh, God, I missed that chicken. That was fantastic. Brother, thank you so much for calling in. I don't agree with your takes entirely, but I understand where you're coming from, and I get the frustration. 100%. Oh, God, I missed that chicken. This is why I went back to the old system. Right? We like this. If you like this, drop a like on the video. If you like the call-in show. If you don't like the call-in show, let me know, because then maybe I'll switch something up, and I'll do a different style of show. Who knows? I've always enjoyed it, but we shall see. Phone lines are open. Phone number's on the screen, 973-506-8487. If you want to join into the conversation, if you wanted, let me know how you can fix the New York Jets. If you're watching this after the fact, make sure you leave it in the comments down below. If you're in the chat and you don't want to call, throw it out in the chat, and I'll take a look and see what's going on over there. You guys are saying Berrios can play. I do like Berrios. I want to bring him back. I think he's one of our better returners we've had in the last few years, and he's just rock solid at catching the ball on a punt. Like, I don't even necessarily need him to return things. Like, I would rather almost let the ball go into the end zone and fair catch on punts, because I feel like you're more likely to get a penalty when you return a kick anyway, and you just open guys up to injury. But I do like Berrios, and I think he's sure-handed as well. Let's see. Thomas Cahill says, Fant is balling out. Fant has had a really good season this year. He actually gave up his first sack yesterday. It was the first sack he's given up all season. So I absolutely want to make sure he is not cut after this season. Justin Farmer says, I would hire a new OC and defensive coordinator. I would not do that, Justin. I think it's a little premature. Don't fire your defensive coordinator when he doesn't have any horses in the stable. That's kind of where I'm at right now, at least for this season. We got another caller on the line. Tommy, what's up, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
Hey, how are you, Ryan?
Not too bad. I'm hanging in there. I'm just trying to get some ideas as to how we can fix our New York Jets.
Oh, man. Well, I'm calling more for therapy than ideas. I need you to convince me that I should feel okay that 𝐗-𝐿𝐵𝐵 is our left tackle of the future. Because I'm
okay.
in this whole year two gone to waste, and I'm starting to think that's also a question mark among the 50 other question marks on the team.
I think that is a great question, and I think it's absolutely fair to be concerned about it, because I think we saw the all-time highs of Becton last year in his like good games, and we saw the injury bug. I shouldn't say the injury bug, because he got rolled up on by his own offensive lineman. It was a very fluky kind of injury, but I think his weight, and I don't have anything to support this, but I think his weight is what's slowing his return. I think it's a conditioning thing, and just being his size, trying to get back from a knee injury, seems like it's probably a little more difficult. That said, I wouldn't want to give up on him. I think if someone were to offer you a high package of picks to get him, it would have to be more than, it would probably have to at least be a first and a third to even remotely consider it. But even then, I probably would not. I think Becton,
Yeah, if someone gives you the Tunstall deal, I mean, you take it, but I don't know if I see that happen.
That's exactly it. I don't think we've seen enough from Becton to warrant that type of draft compensation. I do think there's a conversation to be had that Fant should stay at left tackle and you move Becton to right. And I know you drafted Becton to be the left tackle, but he has played right a little bit. I mean, I guess Fant has probably played right tackle more than not, but if we can get...
But Fant looked better at left tackle, which is a bizarre thing.
Yes. That's exactly where I was about to go. I was going to say, if you can get Fant's level of production out of left tackle and you can get 85% of Becton's left tackleness on the right side, that might be a net positive overall. It's interesting.
I agree, and thinking of this question led me to another pessimistic rant, which is, what positions do you feel are like solved for the future? We have a lot of holes, we know our holes, and we have a lot of maybes. But when I think about what's actually solved, I'm like, okay, 2 D linemen, Quentin and JFM. Presumably Quentin will soon be on a long-term deal. You have your CB2, maybe CB1, and Bryce Hall on a couple more years of his rookie deal. You got AVT. You got presumably Elijah Moore and Michael Carter, and everyone else is still a question mark at best, if not a definite cut. I mean, obviously some guys you still have hope in Zach, you still have hope in Becton, and many others. But I mean, how many positions do you feel are really here for multiple years, and you're sure they're a solid NFL starter? It's like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I would say the list you had is pretty rock solid. I would say AVT, to the best of my knowledge, he has not missed a snap this season. I do like Elijah Moore. I do like Michael Carter. I do think Quentin Williams and John Franklin Myers will be here for at least the next few years. I think Quentin will get re-signed this year. Hopefully, Carl Lawson can be a solution to this problem. I am concerned about the injury, but I would go out and get an edge anyway. So, there's that. I think you have a lot of hope, and I think that's a good term because you have a lot of hope for Zach Wilson. If you hit on the Zach Wilson pick, that changes a whole lot for this team in general,
sure.
just hitting on the quarterback. So that's a big one. I had hope for Mims. I don't have that anymore. I think if we get anything out of him, it's a bonus at this point. I would say you probably need an additional running back. I do like Berrios. I would like him to be the slot, or even, if you want to bring in someone else. I think we have to bring in another wide receiver. I think that's a free agent need is where I would like to spend that. Ideally, and I would like Michael Gallup. In terms of offensive line, AVT is really the only one that's rock solid. I do think McGovern's here next year, but it's tough because the NFL, a player's career is only 3 years, right? So you're almost looking this at like 2 years at a time. Like you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself because there's guys like Revis, who we thought was going to be a long-term solution at cornerback at one point, and then just a year later he winds up getting traded or he winds up falling off a cliff. Like it's weird. It's weird in the NFL to address a lot of that. 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a third, 2 fourths, 2 fifths is going to go a long, long way, along with $50 to $60 million in cap space. So I think we have some options here moving forward. And dude,
thanks, man.
You're out of here!
Before you can eject me.
From the cockpit. Oh yes. Oop, that's a chicken. I'm not trying to shoot the chicken across the screen. What am I trying to do here? Take the timer off. All right, we got another caller. Who we got?
From Chris from Florida.
Oh, Chris from Florida. Long time no talk, brother. How you doing?
What's going on, Jets fans? The season's almost over, and let's look forward to another great draft year. Jets, Jets. I'm still bringing the energy.
I love it, brother. I love it. Now tell me, how would you fix the New York Jets?
I understand everyone's upset with the 3 drives, that how the game had started off, and I will join that crowd of being upset. However, I'm not fully about removing Ty Johnson. I think he can still be a number 2 or possible 3 because we cannot forget how many times Johnson can carry the ball.
Look, Ty Johnson's a player that I really liked. It's just the drops. It feels like there's like as much as if he catches the ball, he could be a really nice weapon in space. He just 3 drops in 3 drives had me pulling my hair out.
Yeah, and I just feel like the only reason that they were using Ty Johnson as a receiver was because we were so low down that we had to see 𝐷 𝐗-𝐅𝐚 be the other guy to run the ball. And I'm actually more confident in the coaching staff here because we've always questioned what was going on. Like, we all questioned, why isn't Mims out there? Why isn't 𝐷 being played? What's going on with the system? Why are we seeing the much more younger and more recent draft picks out there on the field than some of the people that have already had some reps in the game? Yes, we could have been more aggressive. Even there were, and I know you've brought it up many times, there were a lot of drop balls that weren't on Zach. There were a lot of, like, why didn't you catch the ball? Why didn't you make a play? The last drive we had all the way down before the half even ended where we could have tied the game. And Mims does this thing where he's like, oh, I'm getting the system. Oh, dude, you're clearly not, and it's really a foul where they had no choice to put you out there. Look at the end of the game. They put Smith out there. So, I'm liking where I see coaching is realizing potential. If they have this much faith, I almost have to say we have to look at it in almost they haven't proven it, but we have to almost look at it like a Belichick situation where if you don't follow Belichick's system and scheme to the point, you're never going to succeed. You're never going to see a winning franchise. Yes, we're fresh and new. We've got all these systems, but the fact that they've already had a plan and layout, we have seen progress. We have seen pushes and drafts. It just always seems to be an imbalanced lever, and I think we're going to see a big difference in the second draft because just look at what the combination of our coach and our DM brought from this draft pick. What the abilities, the qualifications. We all love Michael Carter II on cornerback, but we've been dealing with a lot of injuries, and all the people we brought in signed from from before we drafted, they're injured. I mean, the only person that I really think was a negative signing was Corey Davis, to be fully honest. But besides that, every draft pick and every other player that we expected from is either shining or is shit. And see what we have after the second draft pick. And I have a lot of questions after that one, depending on who we get.
Yeah, I think it's fair to be upset with Corey Davis. He's having an unusual year. He's had far more drops than he's ever had. He's had far more fumbles on a per snap basis. Like, it's just a very, very odd situation for him. And I think he's going to bounce back next year. I do think some of that is learning a new system. I think some of that is, probably trying to play with a rookie quarterback as well. But he's interesting. In terms of draft wise, look, we have to hit on this draft. We have to have another draft like we did this year, next year, with both first round picks. And depending on where that Seattle pick is, I would want to trade down. If I could accumulate more picks, I would be very, very happy in that type of situation. But I get the feeling that the Seattle pick is probably going to go a little further down the draft board, and we might be picking up somewhere around 10 to 12. So much for calling in. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Boom. I love Chris. I love his energy. Always calling in on the call-in show. I love it. I love it. I'm going to go till about 9 o'clock, and then I'll end it there. Only going to do an hour tonight. All right, we got another caller on the line. Who we got?
Call from
Nick.
Nick, what's up, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
Oh, my God, Ryan, I'm miserable. Dude, when is the pain going to end? Can you tell me, when it's going to end or not?
I wish I could. Dude, every year I'm hopeful. I got my green tinted glasses on. I'm like, oh, this is the year it turns around.
Dude, I don't know if you saw, but NYJ Matt on his Twitter account, he had this hilarious graphic where he posted, the Jets cycle every year, and it's
I saw it.
One Jets drive, and then we're going to win 9 games, and then everybody gets injured, and then we look like crap at the beginning. It's every year, man.
Dude, he's one of the best Twitter follows. He had me, oh God, what was it? I think he had me on, he baited me into something. But not that he baited me specifically. He sent something, and I was like, wait a second. Oh, I think it was a PFF thing. He's like, oh, even... was it Corey Davis, who was sitting out, I think, maybe. He's like, oh, even Corey Davis had a good, PFF grade. I was like, what the hell? This is bullshit. He's like, I'm kidding. I was like, oh, well, sorry. I took the bait. I bit the onion.
PFF grades are complete nonsense, dude. They're nonsense. Like, I'm tired of people telling me that Ashton Davis is the Jets' best player because he graded out as like an 80-point something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
No, he stinks. Okay?
I would like to believe that Ashton Davis will be one of our 2 starting safeties next year, for better or worse. I think we see enough from him this year to at least give him the lion's share of reps while also drafting and bringing, hopefully, I would like to bring back Joyner, ideally, and then you kind of let the rookie battle it out. And then there's also Marcus Williams. Marcus Williams is going to be a free agent after this year from the Saints.
Wasn't Joyner supposed to be the starting safety?
He was. Yep.
Right?
He wound up getting hurt.
Yeah. Did he play week 1? I don't think he did. Or did he play like a half and then he got injured or something? Like,
so I don't know. I thought he did not play in that half. Yeah, I don't know if he did or not, because I got confused, because Rich Cimini put out a tweet that said, like, Carl Lawson is going to miss 16 games this season, but there's a 17-game schedule, and he definitely got hurt in the preseason. And then he said LaMarcus Joyner was, like, 15, like, you know, out for 15 games this year, so maybe he started, like, the first game and then got hurt that game. I don't exactly know, but Joyner is someone I was looking to see bounce back this year after moving back to his more natural position as opposed to playing that nickel corner.
You can, dude. I don't know about you, and you might disagree with me on this, but I really think this defensive line is completely overrated. I mean, like, they're not really getting any push ever. I mean, I know they have a few sacks and a few run stops against the Saints, but, like, it seems like every week, like, Quentin Williams is disappointing, even though he has, you know, like, blah, blah, blahs. Head tackles for a loss. Sheldon Rankins has been kind of Shaq Lawson has been incredibly disappointing. I know he wasn't projected to be like a great player, but like if you're filling in the void for Carl Lawson, you better be pretty solid, and he hasn't really been good. He looks slow. I have no idea why Kyle Phillips and Nathan Shepard are in the game on like a crucial 3rd and 1. Like, I really don't understand the rotation of this defensive line at all. Like,
I would say this. I think the injuries hurt us more on the defensive line than almost anywhere else, and in turn hurt us in the secondary because we can't get that pressure. Because like you said, it has been disappointing, but Huff is out, Curry's out, and Lawson's out. That's 3 main guys that were like key contributors. Huff, at the beginning of this year, was like right up there with TJ Watt in terms of like pressure. I don't know if it was pressures per snap or like beating the double team. He was really high up on the list, and I would like to see those guys healthy. I mean, Curry's probably done for his career, but I would like to see us bring in an edge rusher. And I think once you really start having the edge presence and the quarterback forced to step up in the pocket, then that's when you start seeing Rankins and Foley and Quinnen and JFM. Because JFM playing on the outside, I kind of want to slide him inside. I don't really want him as an edge setter per se.
Wasn't he originally like an inside guy and then they moved him to the outside? That's what I thought. I don't know how he played on the Rams, but I thought on the Rams he was an inside defensive tackle. I don't remember him playing on the edge as much.
He's versatile, but he's definitely more interior than exterior. We've used him exterior, I think, just because of the injuries to our roster.
Yeah, and like, let me ask you a question. Would you commit to Quentin Williams like long term? Because I really don't know if I would. I mean, he's like, I don't know. It's a very weird situation because I would try.
That's it! You're out of here!
I don't know if I'd do it. I really don't know if I'd do it.
All right, so the ejector seat chicken already flew across, so I got to say woo. But I will answer this question before I boot you. So Quentin Williams, I do want to hold on to him. I think I would approach him this offseason, and be like, hey, Quentin, we want you here long term. We really like you. You have 2 years left on your rookie contract. We want to start negotiating now. We would love to lock you in for the next 5 years. At that point, I would probably say, look, because we have your rights for the next 2 years on your rookie deal plus 2 franchise tags, Quentin, we're looking to work out some type of deal. What are you looking for? We'll tell you where we're at, but I'm looking for a deal if we're re-signing you early. If he says, no, I want $20 million, just be like, okay, look, I understand. We want to keep this door open. We want to keep negotiating with you.
It's just too much.
It's too much at this point in time. And I think that's fair. I think anyone would probably get that. And I think him getting more guaranteed money in a signing bonus now as opposed to a good kid, first and foremost, and I think he's a hard worker.
Yeah, but like really quick, like my thing is he was the 3rd overall pick compared to what we thought he was going to be. Like,
So
I don't know. It's just very weird, like how he's panned out. Like he hasn't. I mean, he's been good, but like to me, he hasn't really been what we thought we would. I was hoping he would be. I can't talk tonight. My apologies.
So let me find a stat real quick that I came across. And so Quentin Williams, defensive tacks with 6 Cameron Hayward and 1 Quentin Williams. So I'm very much behind Quentin. I think as boom. Jets Forever says JFM went ghost again. Back when you're kind of forced to contain shifty quarterbacks like a Taysom Hill. I said that with other comments in terms of like Josh Allen trying to defend against him. I guess not so much Tua, but guys that could maneuver around a little bit more. That's, I think, where you wind up having to watch yourself.
Call from
Billy.
Welcome to the cockpit. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Nice. What would you say your plan to fix the New York Jets would be?
Unfortunately, I think that we need to get rid of Zach Wilson. I know it sounds crazy, but I just haven't seen enough this year, and with this inconsistency, I just don't see it happening. I think we're gonna have to start over with the new quarterback, but I hope I'm wrong. But great show, Ryan. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I would say I would not give up on Zach Wilson. I think it would be a mistake at this point in time. I do think that there are far more pressing needs, and I do think that you just have to deal with it. Unfortunately, like, let it go another year. Bring in some competition. I am not for bailing on Zach Wilson yet. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned. I am definitely concerned. But I do think that Zach can be part of the solution here. And it's just a matter of him learning. I think he's going to have a steeper learning curve than other quarterbacks coming out because of the system. I think Trey Lance is in a similar boat as well out in San Francisco. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that we wind up seeing some more consistency. What else you guys talking about in the chat? Hun Kim says, I'm evaluating Quinnen and Mosley from their standards. They have been disappointing. They may still be better than average players, but I expect more from them. 100% on Mosley. Mosley's absolutely the type of player that should be playing better than he is. He did have 17 tackles yesterday. I think he had 10 solo, 7 assists. But tackles are not necessarily a good indication of how good a linebacker is. He has been a liability in pass coverage. Quinnen, on the other hand, I think is playing just fine. Bryce Huff. So I think we are a little hamstrung in that respect in regards to Quinnen. Travis B says at least Eddie Pinheiro is leading the league in field goal percentage. That's right. 100% field goal efficiency from Eddie Pinheiro. Let's keep that going. Let's solve the kicker situation. What else you guys talking about? Jay Spector says, defense is brutal because no one gets off a block and stuffs gaps. Other teams' offensive linemen taking out our linebackers on all those big runs. Yeah, you have to be able to shed blocks or you have to be able to eat blocks. That's what's got to happen. You got to try and attack those double teams like Quinnen last year. A lot of his play was eating up double teams, allowing linebackers room to run. Switching to the 4-3, that's not necessarily the case, but there should be some openings. Unfortunately, when you're relying on your front four, you... Tony G looks like he's replying to someone else. I'm trying to see where he's probably replying to. But he says Karlaftis is pretty much John Franklin Myers. What the F? Laugh my ass off. I like Karlaftis a lot. I would have no problems with the Jets bringing him in. I watched some of his tape last few days. And I am pretty high on him. from Michigan is another one that I'm probably looking at. Karlaftis. Those are the 4 guys. I would like one of those 4 at some point, but depending on where our draft pick is, obviously, and where the Seattle pick is going to determine that.
Call from
Eddie from North Carolina.
Eddie from North Carolina, how you doing, brother? Oh no, he hung up on me. Oh well, Eddie from North Carolina, I had you there. What else are we talking about? Jets Forever says Karlaftis will be good. He can play all 3 downs, rush the quarterback, and play the run. And Watson was available to play. I would trade Zach and a first for Watson, get a quality tight end and a receiver, and make my first 3 draft picks edge, corner, safety. Hey, you guys know I was 100% behind the Deshaun Watson thing. I would a trade for him without knowing the verdict of his situation, because 22 allegations against him doesn't pass the sniff test. I think there is as much as I like the player and I liked what he's done in his community, aside from the allegations and everything, I would have loved to have him. But I think there's too much of a headache, and that bringing that into New York, I think it polarizes the fan base. It's not what I want. I would rather go after Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers before I went after Watson at this point in time. And I would say I don't want to go after either one of those. 𝐷-𝐸, thank you for becoming a member of the channel, brother. Thank you so much. Boys, if you're a member of the channel, drop some JETS in the chat. Show 𝐷-𝐸 all the emojis that we have in there. Let's see. Were you guys talking about... Pat Riley says, didn't Kermit the Frog sing "It's Not Easy Being Green"? Maybe the Jets should change the team colors. I like green, though. I'm unsure if I like green because of the Jets or if I like green outside of that. I like green. I don't want to change our colors. I do wish we had a gray, like a fighter jet gray alternate jersey. That would be pretty hot. Gitmo Bob says, watched OSU totally neutralize Karlaftis. What will the pros do to him? Well, I guess I'm going to have to start watching more tape on all these guys, because just watching highlights probably not going to cut it on a snap-by-snap basis. 𝐗-𝐷𝐿, I will say this. Jets Forever is talking about 𝐗-𝐷𝐿. I think he's phenomenal. And he has a knack for stripping the ball, too. Turnovers. Ball hawk, corners and safeties, and guys that can strip the ball. Those are massive, massive gets. That's what you want. Prison. I would like to believe anyone is one rape away from prison. Fuck those guys. Gardner Minshew as a bridge for Zach, says Shadow's Den. What is... Now, I'm curious, because I don't actually know what Gardner Minshew's contract situation is looking like. Is he a free agent at the end of the year? I don't think he is. I think he's tradable. Where is Gardner Minshew? Gardner Minshew. Yeah, he's got 1 year left on his contract, $1 million. So how much are you willing to give up for Gardner Minshew? I like Minshew. He's not someone I would go after, though. Hey, Mitch, another year and we have 0 wins in our own division. We stink. Dude, I can't tell you. I'm a part of the AFC East panel group chat that we got going on with Richie and Dan and Master at Work and TD Finns Talk and Dougly Do Wrong. Those are absolutely brutal guys to be in a chat with if you're not.
Call from
Eddie from North Carolina.
Eddie from North Carolina, what's up, brother? Welcome to the cockpit.
How you doing, Ryan?
Dude,
I
I'm
was
trying
actually
to
up in New York this weekend. I was contemplating going to the game. My friend died.
I was going to say, I was talking to you on Facebook, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I showed you that picture of my jersey that I had printed up from was it Fan Custom as well.
I talked about that before, I believe.
Yeah. You could actually, with shipping, it was only $50.
That's
anyway,
really not bad.
Here's the problem with the Jets, and here's how to fix them. And you're going to laugh your ass off, and everyone's going to think I'm an insane person, but here's the thing. Okay. Injuries, pulled muscles, all this crap. And I saw this in a movie one time, and I thought it was friggin' brilliant. They hired a ballet instructor.
Oh, we could get yoga.
Guys to
I want hot yoga classes.
Muscles. Hot yoga.
Dude,
this team hired a ballet instructor, and she got them all loose and limber. And the team didn't pull any muscles, no hammies, no quads, none of this nagging bullshit. No, that's part of it. But the big problem is, what have we got? 9 guys on defense that are starters or essential rotational players that are out.
Yeah.
2 starting safeties.
Yep.
For a while, we had 2 out of our 3 starting cornerbacks. Our 2 edge rushers, 3 linebackers. I mean, come on.
We're talking Vinny Curry, Huff, and Carl Lawson. There's 3 edge rushers.
That's right.
And then Blair was out for a little bit. Like,
Well, Blake's always out.
Yeah. We have, dude, I don't know what we're gonna do. Well, not Cashman. I'm talking about Blair.
We have to kill Joe Namath, and I don't want to do that.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be so bad. This is like, are we gonna wait till this man kicks the bucket before we can break the curse? He sold his soul to the devil just for the ring.
Oh no,
I love Joe.
Anyway, Zach really has to pick up his short pass game, because if he can't do that, then he is a bust. I think right now he's just freaked out. I think the game's still a little too fast for him. I personally, I'd start Mike White the rest of the season, see what he's got.
Ooh,
I would. That would be my thing. I know, but this is a personal choice. People are going to hate me. I want to see what we got in Mikey White, because how long is Joe Flacco going to be there? Seriously. And the other guy, number 9, he's a journeyman. He's never going to amount to anything. Maybe in the 5th round we pick up another quarterback. I don't know what to do.
I would try to bring in a quarterback before I draft another quarterback. Like, I would look at Jimmy G. I think that's a realistic option. He knows the system. Like, he's closer to that starter.
Garoppolo would be good for 2. Yeah, Garoppolo would be good for 2 or 3 years. Let Sam learn. I mean, how many years was Aaron Rodgers behind Favre?
Yeah, 3 years. 3 years, right? Like, I don't have a problem with Zach sitting.
And when Rodgers came in, man, back in the day, no quarterbacks came and started right away because they were getting killed. They'd sit for 3-4 years before they got a chance to play.
The tough thing is it's that contract, right? Like, if you sit for 3-4 years, now all of a sudden you have to decide on their 5th-year option. Number 2 overall pick, he's going to be making $25 million, $30 million. So now you have to decide.
And I think the other problem is the NFL Players Association. These guys don't want to practice with pads.
Well, it's definitely the weakest. It's the weakest player association.
On the field, and they get out in the field, and they haven't had drills and hitting, so they're a bunch of cream puffs, and they're amazing athletes, but they're not in football shape. They're not in getting their heads crashed into each other shape. And I'm just talking, No,
I think
concussion shit.
I would say you're right as far as offensive linemen go. Like, offensive line play has gone downhill significantly since they took away the 2-a-day practices and the hitting with the pads.
Well, I'll tell you, the Jets' O-line looked pretty good the first half.
Yeah.
Zach had time. I'm looking at him like he's standing there like a statue. He's looking around here, looking around there. He don't throw, though. It's just confident. It's simple.
You're out of here!
Ejected from the cockpit. Eddie, brother, thank you so much for calling in. You're not wrong. Injuries have been a huge issue. And bringing in a ballet dancer, having them do some hot yoga, something like that, maybe that gets these guys a little more stretched out. I say that tongue-in-cheek, but I'm also, sort of serious that, stretching is huge. It's absolutely massive. I do think part of our injuries... and I couldn't tell you any type of percentage or anything like that, but I do think there's some issues with our motivation to play. Like, I think guys that may have otherwise played through injuries on a competitive team know, hey, I'm going to shut it down. This is a very tough game. This is brutal on your body. The average career length is 3 years. So for me, I can understand if there is a self-preservation mode. I've talked about this numerous times on the channel. I think guys kind of shut it down a little bit. They might make business decisions, if you will. And it's hard to blame a guy when your career is so short. Why waste it on a losing team? The issue is it makes it really tough to grade players when guys start doing that. Billy McLean says, cough, cough, 𝐗-𝐅𝐸𝐵. I don't think 𝐗-𝐅𝐸𝐵 is shutting it down because of injury. I think he's definitely dealing with some nagging injury because of his weight. Not that he's not in shape, but I think it's just tough to put that knee back with 370 pounds on top of it. Or I guess his leg might be heavy, so maybe it's like 350 pounds. Maybe he's got a 20-pound leg below the kneecap. I don't know. Guys, there's a lot of issues with the New York Jets. You guys had some good ideas. Some of you had some bad ideas. But we'll do some more call-ins in the future for sure. Boys, I'm going to hop off. Just going to do a quick little hour stream total. So it was a lot of fun. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. Let people know that this is a worthwhile stream to hang out in. And, maybe I'll remember to turn my microphone on at the beginning of my streams when I start this. Anyway, boys and girls, it's been fun. This is Jets Talk signing off. 𝐗-𝐸-T-A.